Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about this garden better from Everything Attachments. That's the GB60. So the frame is 60 inches going across, so it's 5 foot. And I have it set up with the discs, and I got the sweeps at the end to break up the tracks from the tires, and then I got the furrowing attachment in the middle, right? That's that pointy thing. And the purpose of the purpose of this thing basically is to do this over here, right? So you can see over here, um, in the middle over here is the row, and you can see how it's that furrowing attachment has cut a little corridor down the middle of that row where I can basically plant my seeds, right? So I'm going to be running a one of those $100 planters that, you basically roll down the line and it just drops the seed every couple of inches. So on the sides over here, right, on here and over here, right, that's where the tires pass through, and that's where those sweeps come in handy because they break up that soil so it doesn't keep getting compacted. So the goal here is, after I put the seeds in next week, because right now I'm still experimenting with this. I finally got this figured out. Today we're going to be talking about how I have it set up and how it's working for me. But the goal is that once I get planted, I'm going to basically, because I'm going to go back through it with these sweeps and do my cultivating to get the weeds out. And I have extra sweeps that I might actually put in here as needed to get the to get the weeds out. Okay, so that's been really my biggest struggle with planting in this area over here, on this land, is that once I get stuff planted, the weeds basically just grow in, and everything gets out of control. So on this side over here, I've been through it with the disc harrow. You guys, if you watch my channel, you saw the videos I did in the past. So I've got the soil all, initially I went through it with the middle buster to break it up. Then I went through it with the disc harrow to basically loosen up the soil. It took a couple of passes. I probably went through it 10 times with the disc harrow before I got it to the point that it is right now. So there was quite of a struggle. There was a bit of struggle getting that to work in this soil, because I'm in Pennsylvania. This is thick, rocky soil, right, in Pennsylvania. So as far as setting up, first of all, the tractor I'm using is my Kubota L3800. Okay, so it's a 38 horsepower. Got the bucket off right now to just take some weight off the end. I didn't want to take off the front loader completely, and the reason is because in case I ran into an issue where I needed to move some dirt or something, I wanted to, just throw on the bucket if I needed it. All right. So what I want to talk to you guys really about today is how I set up this garden better, because like, I've watched a whole bunch of videos from Everything Attachments about how this works. However, where they are, like someplace I think down south, their soil is very different from the soil that I have. Okay, so my soil is really tough, okay, and rocky. So what I did is, if you look at the way they set it up, they've got these discs a lot closer. They have them set up in this hole and this hole over here, right? That's where they have their discs over here. However, when I ran through here, the hill that it was creating was really too small. It just wasn't working. I mean, and the fur was pretty much destroying it completely. So what I did is I ended up moving these a little bit wider. So I put it outside of this triangle piece here, and that's giving me the rows that you guys saw a minute ago, which is a lot better. And then that works better with the furrowing attachment here that cuts that line for the seeds. Now, another benefit of putting these a little bit wider is, if you need to adjust it, the bolts are easier to get to on the back, okay? Because if you put it one bolt on the inside and one bolt on the outside, the way they show you in the videos, it's really hard to get to the bolts. And here's the thing, you're going to probably have to go through a whole bunch of adjustments to get this right. So if you can stick to the either outside or the completely on the inside, which is not going to be likely unless you got like really soft soil, most likely if you can stick to the outside over here of this triangle piece over here, your life is going to be a lot better, right? It's going to be a lot easier. Let me show you quickly on the back side what I'm talking about. So when you get to the back side of the frame, right, you can see how, you know, that's basically where it attaches to the quick hitch, right? So I have the U-bolts completely on the outside. The way I initially set it up is this was shifted one over the way everything attachment shows you. So the U-bolt was like this. So the bolts that were on the inside were really hard to access when I wanted to try and adjust this to get this right. So it just so happens that for this soil over here, it works better if I make my rows a little bit wider. And I put my discs a little further apart, so that's a good spot. And then with the sweeps over here, basically initially I had it one over here, and I ended up pushing it one wider. So the way it's working out for me, I pretty much have to go one wider than I think I need to go, and that's working out pretty good. Now I did have to make a couple of passes. Like, I've been through this about 3 times already, because first of all, if you set this up the way on this soil, in this Pennsylvania soil, if you set this up the way they do it down south, you're barely going to scratch the surface. You're not going to see rows. Okay, so I had to make those discs a little bit wider, and what happens is, because they're now wider, when I run through it, I have to also run through a little bit faster, right? So I actually have to run through at a faster speed. Look at this camera set. I have to run through at a faster speed, so it kind of throws the soil a little bit, and creates the mounds. There we go. All right, so there we go. So yeah, so I do have to run, which is fine. You know, I get done faster, but I have to run through a little bit faster, so that as I'm going through, it's actually throwing the soil, and it's creating the row in the middle, and then this is going through and it's cutting a line. I've tried this at different heights. When I tried it higher up, because right now I have pretty deep rows, but when I tried it higher up, at some points, because remember, the ground's not 100% even, so at some points it just wasn't cutting anything, and I really need to have a line there that I can, you know, I can roll the planter through, so that line is really going to make it easier for me. Okay, so I had to. So here's the thing: when you're setting this up, right? This is really the goal of this video. When you're setting this up, what you want to do is get your discs as high as you can without hitting the frame. So there's this little piece of metal over here. I'm about a ½ inch below that. The reason why you want to get the discs as high as possible is because when I found out when I had these lower, I couldn't get the furrowing attachment low enough to make my lines. Okay, so that's why I had to get the discs up as high as possible, so that when I was running this piece through there, right, it would actually, you know, because this is set, you know, pretty low. All right, so get these in first, right? Because these discs, because I was, you know, initially I started with the sweeps on the outside. No, don't do that. Start off with the discs. Start them off with the highest position possible, so you're not hitting the frame. And then what you're going to do is get those in, run it through the ground, and at that point see where these are making contact with the ground, and then adjust these second so that they're breaking up the ground, right? Because you don't want them digging too deep, you don't want them riding above the ground. So these have to go in first, all right? So then these will go in, and then afterwards you can fine tune this. Now I did try this, because I've seen videos where people have this backwards. Yeah, and I saw the soil that the guy had. It was like really fine dust. With this soil over here, I need this thing pointed forward and deep, actually cutting deep, because of the type of soil that I have here. Okay, so if you guys are in the north, you know, in the northern part of the United States, or northeast, where you got like this thick, heavy soil, this is a good place to start. You know, because it took me about 3 days of constantly adjusting this back and forth, trying to figure out how to get this right. Having the quick hitch is also a big convenience. Being able to, this quick hitch is definitely like one of those things that you got to have on your tractor. Yeah, I'll show you guys a close-up of the quick hitch. How I set that up. So that's pretty easy. That's the Harbor Freight one. That's like $130. I mean, this one I got for $100, and I bought a second one for my L3901. That's at a different property. That one was like $130. I've seen it go for $150. I put 1,000 pounds of counterweight on this quick hitch back here. and it holds up pretty good, right? And it's great. You know, I got the little bushings here, right? So if you get these, you're gonna have to get the bushings are like $3. So you get the bushings, throw them on here, and then you adjust these bolts to get this at the right height. I was trying to, what I want to do, so I want to find pins, so I don't have to mess with the bolts that screw on and off. I was using some pins that I found that were a little bit thinner than this. They ended up breaking when I was using the disc harrow, so I went back to the bolts that they use. So until I find the right size bolts, I'm kind of stuck screwing and unscrewing. If any of you guys know what the size of these bolts is, let me know, so I can find the right pins. I mean, I could just take them off and go into the store and size it out that way, but eventually I'll do that. But right now, this seems to be working pretty good. Okay, so hope this information was useful. Let me actually, I'll back this up and I'll run through this and show you guys a video of this thing actually working. Actually, let me run it here. So here's the thing. This what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm gonna come through this row over here, which I've already made one pass. Actually, this row here, I've already made one pass, and then I'll go to the next row over, which will be fresh, and you'll see it cutting for the first time into that one. Actually, let me move the camera over a little bit more. I'll position it between the two rows. So it's in this Pennsylvania soil, it's definitely not like what they show you in the videos, you know, of how they're doing it down south. I mean, I understand they got different soil down there and all that, but it's a lot more work, a lot more passes. And I think that's part of the reason why, like, it took, you know, here's the thing, interesting point. You know, for a very long time, like Northern Europe and North America, right? You know, they're basically the people were like hunter-gatherers, okay? And the reason why they were hunter-gatherers for such a long time with very little farming is because this soil is hard to farm, right? Unless you have steel plows and powerful animals or machines to pull it, it's very hard to farm this ground. In Europe, they really didn't start farming until about 1000 AD in Northern Europe. You know, that's when they basically invented the steel plow. Down in the Mediterranean, where the soil was a lot softer, I mean, they were farming back there from, like, you know, whatever, 5000 BC. Okay, so that's part of the reason why Northern Europe took a lot longer for it to become populated and developed. And North America, I mean, basically, they're really, I mean, I know the Indians did a little bit of farming, but you know, it's really hard to farm this land unless you got powerful animals, steel plows, or machines to you know, to cut through the dirt. So, all right, let me run the camera and let's run the machine, and we'll see how this look comes out. That should be a good angle right there. So like I said, the first pass will be through one that I already did, and then the second pass will be into a fresh area over here that I only went through with the disc harrow. camera was actually a little bit in the way. That's why I had to lift the arm. So what I did is, the first one, let me get this myself back in the camera. Okay, so the first time you saw me make, I went into the row that I had already done before. And I went once out and once back in, all right? So that was like probably like the fourth time going through that one. All right, so that's this line that you see here. No, actually that's this one over here. So that was the first line over here, right? And then so I went once out, once back in, right? And then what I did is and the reason why I came back in again is because I wanted you guys to see me going back out on the fresh line. So that's this line over here. So on this line over here, you saw me go out. So actually that's not so bad. Now that I have it perfectly set, it looks like it's actually doing it almost on the first pass. It's cutting my, it's cutting my little row there for the seeds. All right, so it's hilling it and it's giving me a row for the seeds. So that was when you saw me go out, and then you saw me come back in on this line over here. This one didn't come out so great. This one I definitely got to make a second pass on. But you can see it a little bit, right? How there's a row there, and then there's a line where it cuts into it. But I mean, I can see it further down, but it's not perfect. So yeah, definitely got to make more than one pass on most of these rows. Okay, so I see a rock over there. No problem over here. Lots of rocks all over the place. So I hope this video was useful. And again, I wanted to do this video because there's a couple of videos from everything attachments about with them actually working with this thing, but they're working with it down south where the soil is completely different than what we got in the Northeast. And that's I want you guys to see how this works out up here, okay, with the harder soil, with the harder rocky soil. So like I said earlier, first get your discs in, get them as high up as you can, so that you're not hitting the frame. Start off with them completely outside of this triangle. It's going to be a lot easier for you guys to get in and out, to in there and make adjustments. So get these in, then afterwards run it through the ground. Put these in, but set them high, right? Run it through the ground. Set these up, run it through the ground, and then see if you need to drop these a little bit more to make contact, and then put this in, and that'll probably save you a whole bunch of work if you go about it that way. Then the way I did it was just a lot of trial and error to get it to the point where it is right now. So thanks for watching. If you're not a member of my channel, subscribe. I also have an uncensored channel on Odyssey. Its channel name is Pocono Tactical over there, and Odyssey is ODYSEE.com. I'll talk to you all soon. Hey everyone, I actually got this even better. What I did is I dropped the sweeps so they were digging a little bit deeper into the dirt. So this is the middle row over here. This is the row basically over here, and then there's that little cut that the furrowing attachment makes. And then these over here on the side are where the tires are and where the sweeps go. So I set the sweeps so that they would go a couple of inches deeper. And it made a big difference, because what would happen is the sweeps would actually pop up the dirt higher. And then the discs had more material to throw towards the center. So that made all the difference in the world, just getting those side sweeps a little bit deeper. And it gave me like perfect rows. What I think of perfect rows. And even in this area back here where I had not used the disc harrow as many times, the sweeps pretty much finished the job, and they gave me a nice column over there. So this came out really nice. So this is ready for seeding now. I got one of those Earthworks seeders. They're like, I think it was like $100, and basically it looks like a little bicycle. You just push it along and it drops the seeds. So that's how I'm planning to seed this. But yeah, this came out pretty good. A lot better than it was looking yesterday and the day before, while I was trying to figure out how to get the how to position the discs and the furrowing attachment and the sweeps. And initially I think I started off with the sweeps a little bit deeper, but I guess I just didn't have it right. I finally got it now. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Talk to you all soon.